Physical versus chemical properties. A chemical property is a destructive test. It turns your chemical into something else, a new substance. A physical property is non-destructive. Your substance is not destroyed. An example of a physical test would be its melting point. It has changed the phase of the substance, but it has not destroyed it. For each of these processes here, let's guess the property responsible and determine if it's physical or chemical. Boiling. Well, it will differentiate substances based on their boiling point, but it doesn't destroy it, so it's a physical property. Rusting is an oxidation process. It adds oxygen to the substances, and it does turn them into new substances, so it's a chemical process based on that particular reaction, which happens to be oxidation. Like boiling, melting is not a destructive test, so that is a physical property, and the substances are separated based on their melting point. You can separate substances based on their density and how they might rise or sink in air, for example. Not destructive, so that's a physical property where the separation method is density. Burning could separate out substances, but it will destroy them, so you can differentiate them by their flammability, the color of the flame, for example, but it is a destructive and therefore chemical test. You can crystallize substances depending on how soluble they are in another substance, and it does not destroy them. It's a physical property. How about flattening? Substances flatten to different degrees depending on what's known as their malleability, non-destructive. It's a physical test. Some substances mold, others don't, so the decomposition properties here are at play, and it does destroy it. It's a chemical test. Tell me about stretching. That's not called malleability, it's called ductility. It's a physical, non-destructive process. Light bending. Some substances, particularly clear ones, will have a given refractive index, and you can use that to identify that physical, based on that physical property. Simply observing a mixture like a rainbow allows you to identify different colors. That's not destructive, that's a physical property. Some substances are shiny, others aren't. That could be an identification method based on the luster, and since it's non-destructive, that's a physical test. These are examples of physical and chemical properties.